Hi, I'm Rob, and in this Gems of War video, I'm going to take a look in the Soulforge and tell you what I think is good and bad in there this week, what's worth crafting and what you should basically avoid. As well as that, I'll be going into the shop and taking a look at the new Glory Troop and telling you what I think about that and giving a rating. Now, there is a couple of things you should be paying extra attention to this week as well. There are new Warbands in the shop. I'll come to those in just a second. Crinklemas is a new holiday event starting today, and of course we'll do the Something Impressive the World event later on. I'll show you my team for that, and I'll show you my team for this Crinklemas as well later on. Right, anyway, what do you call a rooster staring at a pile of lettuce? A chicken Caesar salad. A chicken sees a salad. Chicken sees a salad. Do you see? Oh, yeah, they're bad, aren't they? They are bad. But they're meant to be bad, that is the point. Anyway, to the shop first of all. First of all, the Warbands. The new Warband that is here is Mech Masters Warband. These are really good, because these are just the booster ones, but there's two new ones here. Hunting Pack Warband. I'm going to be... Can I get both of these? How many Warbands have I got? Oh, 174. I've got enough. Yeah, and the cool thing about Warbands is... a troop, which if you're a newer player, may be a new troop, which is pretty handy. And Clockwork Sphinx is really good as well. It destroys all gems of a chosen colour with full effect, and give all allies armour boosted by those gems removed. But also you get the rather good Shocktopus as well. Destroys 8 gems of a chosen colour. Deals magic-based true damage to each enemy of that colour. It's kind of like a poor man's Grey King, really, but it's still quite usable in certain teams. And you get Goblin Rocket as well. Explode a gem, deal light splash damage to a random enemy, and gain an extra turn. All handy, but get another weapon. True damage to a random enemy and destroy a random column. That's not too bad. And you get a new team slot. That's one of the handiest things of all, so I'll be absolutely grabbing that. Thank you very much. Here's another one here. Vampiric Mark. Deal damage to an enemy if they have Hunter's Mark. Steal 6 life. New team slot again, and some more troops. Converts purple to green. Hunter's Mark, the first enemy. Start battles with full mana. Pretty handy indeed against those teams that start wanting purple. You can convert them all the way to a colour, hopefully, that they don't use. Yeah, but I'll grab that as well. New team slot. It's so handy to have team slots. Right, so always good to get them. Now onto the weekly Glory Troop, Morganite. I think this sounds like it's going to be awesome. But without testing it, you never quite know. Convert all green gems to brown, then create 3 brown dragon gems. Uses brown and purple, so can self-charge, which is pretty nifty. So the more green that are there in the first place, the more conversions you're going to get. And obviously you'll be able to see if you're going to get any matches from that when they convert to brown. But even if they don't, you can throw the dice, take the gamble, see if those 3 brown dragon gems make any alignment. And if they do, you're bound to get an absolute load of brown out of that. So pretty good, but without testing it, I can't say it's awesome. I did say in the Soulforge, not Soulforge, the spoiler video, this could be like a Chalcedony Mark II. I don't think it's going to be as good as that, but still a very, very solid 7 out of 10, I think. And the thing I like about it as well is that middle trait, Mana Shield. Immunity to Mana Burn, Mana Drain, and Mana Steal. One of the most irritating things in the game is when you get your mana stolen from you and you're about ready to cast, and then someone comes along and drains your mana. It's an irritant, and that basically will not happen with Morganite with that second trait. And the standard construct trait of Stone Skin, reduced damage from skulls by 50%. So a very solid troop indeed. I like her. As ever, get this up to level Mythic if you can. Only 16 required to do this if you have enough glory. And this gives you enough to get her to Mythic level, which is going to aid your power level kingdoms in the long run. And you can pick up a bunch of arcane skull trait stones too. Whilst you're here, you can pop in and grab some spoils of war. One of the best things about this is getting those event keys. Event keys really useful if you need Helicrag troops. Tourmaline is the Mythic, which is from Helicrag at the moment. So what you can do with that is you can go to your chests, You can spend your event chest keys, and if you're going to pull a mythic, you will pull Tourmaline. And if you're missing any other Hellcrag troops as well, you can pick them up from there. So anyway, on to the actual Soulforge video. Let's take a look what we got. We'll start with the weapons first. These are all the standard ones that are here all the time. Not going to go over them. They are in other Gems of War Soulforge videos from me. Right, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 here. Aegis of Hellcrag. Remove all brown gems with no effect. It's really important to make that point. They're just taken away with no effect. You may wonder, what, if you're a newer player, what is the point of that? But the point of that is, this is like an anti-Hellcrag weapon, if you like. If you're fighting teams from Hellcrag or troops from Hellcrag, brown is the colour they like the most. And if you remove those colours away, it makes their job a lot more difficult, collecting the mana they require to cast their spells. So it removes all brown gems, then deals damage to an enemy boosted by the gems removed. And as it says, if the battle is from Hellcrag or if the battle is in Hellcrag, deal double damage. So pretty situational, but when that situation comes up, then it's fairly useful, but not essential. Moonstone Trinket. Either create 4 gargoyle gems and potentially set up the team for a massive amount of mana and status effects, or explode 39 gems, magic +1 basically. That's for me. The amount of gems you explode will be magic +1, so the higher your level, the more gems you're going to explode. So I don't like these, or do this, do one thing or the other. I don't like them, these kind of weapons. It's like, that is too hit and miss for me. That is literally, in my case, explode the entire board or potentially set up the opposition. That is, no, not for me. Watchful Blade. Deal a magic-based damage to an enemy boosted by Hellcrag allies, then create a mix of 6 red and brown gems for each Hellcrag ally. So uses a purple and green, so you're going to need to have some more Hellcrag allies in your team that use red and brown to benefit from this weapon, because obviously then you generate a lot of mana that they could use. If you again, if your team meets those requirements, can be very good. I prefer this one overall though. This is more reliable. Like, the thing is with these ones, they're okay, but even with a full team of Hellcrag allies, you can still cast that and get no mana sometimes, which I don't like. Do you prefer these ones? Because it is guaranteed damage, deals damage to an enemy. You know that's going to happen. None of this creating a load of colours which may or may not match. This is like an absolute. This is definitely going to happen. Boosted by all brown allies and construct allies. I do like this sort of thing. Deals damage to an enemy boosted by all brown allies and constructs. It uses brown itself, so you're going to get a boost from that. But it does depend upon the situation. There'll be certain teams and events that come up where this one is by far the most sensible to use. So they're both entirely usable. I'm not saying that they're bad, or I'm not saying this one's bad. It's like, it's good in certain situations, but you won't use it all the time. You know what I mean. Anyway, the summoning stones. Let's take a quick look in there. Nobody essential. Oh, Leprechaun. If you're a newer player, spend some of your summoning stones in here. Leprechaun, absolutely one of the best troops in the game. Get that third trait. Is just going to speed everything up in your game. Starts battles with full mana. And explodes green gems boosted by your gold and gains gold, which means on the next turn you'll explode even more. Really, really good troop. Absolutely spend some of your summoning stones. Try and get Leprechaun. No unessential there. No unessential there. Although dragon eggs are quite handy. And no unessential there. All there. So yeah, definitely grab Leprechaun if you can. Right, let's do the mythics first. Let's start at the top and work our way down. War is up first. No, War. A lot of people say this is a rubbish troop now, because it was, I believe, the first mythic out. But I actually still like it. I'll still actually use it now and again. In a team where you can boost up the attack, it's actually quite useful. Burns all enemies, deals damage to an enemy boosted by my attack, and gain an extra turn if the enemy dies. That is the key to it. You get your attack boosted up You can target someone who you're going to actually kill outright with that and gain an extra turn at the same time. There are lots of ways now to boost up our attack, and he does gain 3 attack at the start of each turn, but that's only slightly effective because you don't want games to be long just for the sake of building up his attack. But the other 2 traits are fairly handy too. A 50% chance to ignore armor with skull damage and reflect 25% of skull damage is pretty good too. So not brilliant, but he's not as bad as some people would make out, I don't think. It's like I've seen a lot of bad things about War, but I see a lot of bad things about lots of Mythics, which I end up making really good teams with. So make of that what you will. Guard's Avatar deals what looks like a low amount of damage to all enemies, but it is boosted by his armor, and that is the key. Burn undead and silence daemon enemies. That is going to be situational. But that damage can be boosted by obviously buffing up your armor, which there's lots of different ways to do in the teams now. So if you can do that, you'll get a hell of a lot of damage from him, and you can do like some quick games with him. He's pretty decent. All divines gain 2 life, recover 1 armor at the start of each turn, and gain 4 armor when an ally casts a spell. Is the rather mediocre traits, let's be honest, but still quite handy mythic. Not too bad at all. Phoenicia, now we're talking. She's fiery and she's on fire. Deals magic-based damage to all enemies, boosted by red gems and burning enemies. And if there's a firestorm, deal double damage. The traits: gain 1 magic for each red ally, immune to burning and fairy fire, and 50% chance to burn a random enemy at the start of my turn. Are just an okay set of traits, but it's her spell which is what is so good about her. She does that damage to all, boosted by red and burning, which can happen by getting that 3rd trait. You can burn someone. You can burn more enemies quite easily as well. You could have like a Infernus in your team, which is an elemental as well, and any 4 match is going to burn all enemies, giving that a further boost. But it's the Firestorm dealing double damage, which is where Phoenicia absolutely shines. Sunspear is the class to use with Phoenicia, and you just get a Firestorm every single turn with that. So you are guaranteed to get basically double damage when you use Phoenicia with Sunspear. Absolutely superb. She's fantastic with Sunspear. Any others? The Fairy Godmother. This is kind of good, but kind of bad at the same time. I really like it in some ways, but I don't in others. It gains an extra turn as a standard goblin thing. Then does this thing I don't like so much. Creates 2 to 3 wish gems, or deals damage to all enemies boosted by wish gems, or gives life to all other allies boosted by wish gems. I prefer to know what is going to happen rather than something that might happen in a game. I prefer to plan my battles that way. But if this goes in your favour, it can certainly work. But yeah, that's not my particular brew. Thank you very much. Is there any others, or was that it? Was that it? 1, 2. Oh yeah, 3, 4. So that's them done. Let's have a quick look at the legendaries. Anastasia. It's not that great. Create 9 gems of a chosen ally's mana colour. So if they use multiple colours like this, for example, you don't actually know what colour that is going to create. If there's a lot of yellow there but not many blue, it could decide to create the blue and then not make any match and set up the opposition. So can be good, can be bad. Cleanse and give life to them. So yeah, way better legendaries these days. Captain McCaw. One of the best things about this is all rogue allies start with 50% mana. So in a rogue team, this is very handy indeed. Then deals damage to an enemy, and if they are submerged, just kill them. Otherwise, submerge them. So if you can find a way to cast Captain McCaw twice really quickly, you can get a kill, because you can target one enemy, and basically if you do damage to them and it doesn't kill them, you're going to submerge them, and then you can kill them the next round. Squawk the plank, as it says. Basilisk. Kind of underused, but really powerful. Deals true damage to an enemy, and if they're poisoned, deal double damage. And you can cause poison by doing skull damage actually with Basilisk, and you'll see the 3rd trait as well. Petrification stuns a random enemy when matching brown gems. But after it's done that damage, it then deals 34 in my case, magic +1, true damage again. And if they are stunned, which they might be, because you can stun a random enemy by matching brown, deal double damage again. That can be really good, especially with a couple of them guys. I like them. I like Basilisk. It's evil. And evil is good in this game. And a Tannenbaum is the last one. Really, really good troop list. I love this. Deals damage to an enemy, then entangles them and pulls them to the front. So you do damage, gets the entangle, so you can't do skull damage. It's not going to make any effect, and pull them to the front. So the enemy at the front is now entangled, no skull damage from them. But what's really cool about having Tannenbaum at the front himself is it's immune to all status effects. So normally when you come across a troop that deals skull damage at the top, and it's like heavy skull damage or something, you entangle them. That is a way to combat a lot of these books that create load of skulls and things like that. You just entangle the first enemy, but you can't do that with Tannenbaum. And it also deals triple skull damage to entangled enemies. So this is really good. You get that cast going first, and you're going to deal triple skull damage to them. Bizarrely, one of the best counters to a Tannenbaum is a Tannenbaum himself, because it's immune to all status effects, and therefore you can't entangle it. One of the best counters is actually a Tannenbaum, because you can then target another enemy, switch them around, and bring someone else to the front instead. So a really good troop, and actually he is a counter to himself, which is kind of rare in this game. That's a bit weird. So there it is. So that's the weapons, that's the troops, that's the glory troop. Stuff that's going on later. I'm going to do my world event team and the Crinklemas team as well. But who gets my super coveted, world-renowned, Mythic of the week? It has to be Phoenicia. Can't be anybody else. Stick her in a team in a Sunspear class and just absolutely wreck with her. She can clear high levels of explore in literally 10 seconds for certain teams. Absolutely really good. Really good for getting trophies fast. And just a superb all-round troop. There she is, Phoenicia. She's fiery, she's excellent, and she's the Mythic of the week. Who ordered the spicy wings? That's the first time I've seen that. It's quite funny. It's nearly as bad as one of my jokes. Anyway, there's a Soulforge review. If you enjoyed it or found it useful or helpful, anything like that, be cool if you bash that like and subscribe button if you've not done so already. But I'll catch you again later. Bye for now.